There are two ways how to obtain Eyes of Ender. For near a decade, speedrunners in pre-1.9 only used one way. They tried to enter the Nether as quick as possible, kill blazes to obtain blaze rods, go back to the overworld and get ender pearls, craft Eyes of Ender, and finally kill the dragon. In the last few years, so many new strats got implemented, like towers, blaze bedding and much more. But all these strats won't be useful anymore if you play Minecraft in a different way. Trading. The basic trading strat looks like this. Find a desert temple, a village with a cleric and a librarian, the stronghold by using one Eye of Ender, mine the library, trade books for emeralds, and these emeralds for Eyes of Ender. This strat was primarily used in peaceful runs because it's the only possible strat in peaceful. So at this time, nobody thought they would become so fast in normal runs. Almost all trading runs are done in version 1.8. Why? 1.8 is the only version that contains the Eye of Ender trade and decent trading mechanics. In 1.8 you can trade gold and redstone and you will always have the Eye of Ender trade. In, for example, 1.7 this isn't the case, because the order of trades is absolutely random. You can run this strategy in pre-1.8, but the lag and RNG required for this is insane. First thing you want to look out for is a desert or a savanna. If you don't see any of these biomes, you should reset. Increasing your render distance to 16 or even more chunks helps a lot. First, you could mine some wood to craft the wooden axe. Maybe this is the last time in the run you see a tree, so it's better to take some more wood with you. At the beginning of a run, food is one of the biggest problems. Killing some animals for food or gathering mushrooms for stews increases your chance of finishing a run drastically. In a desert you want to find a desert temple with enough gold. Here you can see how you can loot a desert temple pretty quick. So you want to find at least 8 or 10 gold to unlock the cleric. And finding some emeralds helps a lot, and 3 diamonds for crafting a diamond axe is also a pretty good thing. While running in the desert you should collect some sugarcane, so at least 30 to unlock a librarian later in the run. Once you got all your materials from the desert, like enough gold and enough sugarcanes, you can leave the desert now, because a desert is not ideal. For example, a savanna, you can collect useful things like food, leaves, wool, feathers, so much easier than in the desert. So once you have the opportunity to leave the desert, leave it. Once you found a village, you have to look out for 2 types of villagers, clerics and librarians. First thing you want to do is unlocking the cleric. You can do that by trading gold or rotten flesh if you were lucky enough to get at least 36 of them. After the first trade you have to trade 1 emerald for redstone to unlock the eye trade. If you got lucky enough and got gold and rotten flesh, you can unlock the eye trade by trading gold, waiting a bit and then trading rotten flesh. And now the eye trade is unlocked 100%. One thing I want to mention, if you got, for example, 20 gold, you could try to unlock the cleric without wasting any emeralds for buying redstone, because a villager has a 20% chance of unlocking trades for every item you buy again. So you would have to buy 1 emerald for 8 to 10 gold, waiting a bit, and then you have to buy 1 emerald again, and then you have a 20% chance of unlocking the eye trade, but by now I didn't do it in runs, but maybe in the future this might be useful. One Eye of Ender costs 7 to 11 emeralds. Now you have to obtain enough emeralds to get one Eye of Ender. How do you do that? You can check out this list. Here you can see every possible trade. Many trades are not that useful in our run, so I made another list with, in my opinion, useful items. So the list looks like this. Green trades are just for obtaining emeralds. Orange trades are mostly for unlocking the trades, and blue trades are pretty useful trades, let's say. For example, arrows from a Fletcher, which is one of the best trades in our run because you don't have to care about killing chickens, mining flint, and yeah, which is pretty good. And the 2 white trades are just necessary for the run because right now there's no other way than mining books. There's one trade, I call it green and orange, and I want to talk about this trade a bit more because written books are pretty useful to obtain many emeralds in a short amount of time, especially in the early run, but there's also one disadvantage why you shouldn't do this in first place when collecting enough emeralds for the first Eye of Ender. Because I already told you that you can unlock trades by buying an item you didn't buy before. For example, when I talked about the cleric, you can unlock the eye trade by buying or selling rotten flesh and then buying redstone and lapis, and this will always guarantee you the eye trade. But if you, for example, sell gold 2 times, you just have a 20% chance of unlocking all trades. So the librarian will lock his trades later in the run when we sell all our books. So it's pretty useful to have one opportunity left to unlock his book trade just by selling 2 written books. Farmers are a pretty good option to obtain emeralds in a short amount of time. Bone meal helps a lot. Sometimes it's possible to obtain all your emeralds without the librarian. In this case, you could save your paper because you might find a village closer to the stronghold, but this strat is a bit more risky because you don't know how many books you actually need to get all of your eyes later in the run. If you don't have a farmer, you can also use the librarian to obtain some emeralds, because in many villages there are 2 houses with bookshelves, so 42 books in total. And these 42 books will give you around 4 to 5 emeralds, which is already a lot. Now you can buy 1 Eye of Ender, or maybe even 2 or 3 if you got lucky. And now you have to locate the stronghold. Many of you might know this trick, but there's a strategy which is used to estimate the distance to the stronghold, which is, in our case, pretty good to know because we just have 1 eye, and if this eye breaks, the run is, over. So just be pretty careful about this when locating the stronghold. You might think if the stronghold is far away, the run is over, because once you found the stronghold, you have to run back to the village and then back to the stronghold again, right? No, actually not. An ender pearl or a lava pool near the village can save so much time. Some time ago I invented some strats to travel between stronghold and village pretty fast. I will put a link in the description for a Google Docs. But now I want to give you a short introduction into advanced travel strats. We use the nether to travel pretty fast, but not like you think right now. Running in the nether saves time, but there are much better methods. Here's a quick overview. There are basically 3 basic strategies which can be used. One of them is called instant travel. You go into the portal in the Stronghold, step out of this portal and go into the same portal again, and you will be back at the village. Another one is called instant travel with a pearl. So this is basically pearl hanging, which is not that easy in 1.8, but it's doable. So you just turn up your render distance and get teleported instantly back to the Stronghold or the village or whatever. And the last strat is called nether travel. So many of you might know this because 1 block in the nether is 8 blocks in the overworld, and this can be used to travel pretty fast. I don't think I have to talk about this much more because many of you might know this. So, and these 3 basic strats can be used to travel between Stronghold and village pretty fast. And I made the Google Docs with every strategy I know in the description. So I'm pretty sure many people will try to find other strats, and they will find other strats. So please let me know. I will add them in this document. When traveling to the Stronghold, you can collect many useful things like feathers from chickens, but also leaves and wood. Leaves are especially pretty good for triangulating the Stronghold. I think everybody should know this technique. Once you entered the Stronghold, you have to find the library. When finding and mining the library, you can bake some potatoes in a furnace, because when you come back you have a pretty reliable food source, which is important for the rest of the run. In the Stronghold there are actually many useful chests. In so-called storage rooms you can find one chest which can contain pretty useful items like gold, iron and food. Now we are in a library, and I want to talk about this a bit more because it's actually more complicated than expected. So one balcony library contains 233 bookshelves. So this is mostly enough to get all your eyes, but you might ask yourself, okay, what's actually a balcony library? A balcony library or big library looks like this. So many of you might know this library, but there's also a second library which looks like this. This is a small library. And a small library is, I would say never enough to get all your eyes. Here you can see a list or a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet is actually much bigger, but you will find the whole spreadsheet in the description. Credits to Sichi who made this. Here you can see, okay, for example, this is the reason why you want to know how many emeralds the cleric wants for 1 eye, and also how many books the librarian wants for 1 emerald. Because once you know this, you know how many books you actually need to get all your eyes. So sometimes a big library is not enough, so you have to find another library. And in a case like this spreadsheet is pretty good. And you might think, okay, once I need a second library, the run is dead. But actually no, because in a Stronghold there can up to 2 libraries. And mostly you don't have to mine 2 big libraries. So 1 big and 1 small library is, I would say, nearly always enough. So the tricky part is just to find the second library, if there is a library. And just once you found a second library, it doesn't really take long to get all the books, because you can see, for example, a golden axe just takes 0.2 seconds to mine 1 bookshelf. so this really shouldn't be a problem. And yeah, with the list you can already see how many books you really need, which makes it much easier to get consistent and fast runs. Once you mined the library, you have to travel back to the village to trade your eyes. When trading all your books with the librarian, he might lock his trades after a while. To unlock the trade again, you have to trade something you didn't buy before. You can buy glass for 1 emerald, a bookshelf for 3 to 4 emeralds, or sell 2 written books. In every case, you will unlock 100% of the time. When you buy things you already bought before, you have a chance of 20% for unlocking the trades for every item you purchase again. Here you can see the probability a villager unlocks his trades in correlation to the items you buy or sell, not the first time. This is the reason why I told you to avoid the written book trade, because once you sold some written books at the beginning of the run just to get some quick emeralds, you don't have the chance to unlock his trades 100% when he locks his book trades. So there are some advantages and disadvantages for selling written books at the beginning of the run. You always have to consider that. It has a low probability, but if the cleric locks his eye trade, you have to buy 1 lapis, not redstone, because in very most cases you bought 1 redstone to unlock his trade. So buying 1 redstone again, you would just have a chance of 20% of unlocking his eye trade. So just buy 1 lapis or glowstone if you want to unlock his eye trade again. Now you should have all your eyes, and if you have some leftover emeralds, you could buy some arrows from a fletcher, which is always worth of food from a farmer. And now you have to travel back to the stronghold and kill the dragon.